Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Grow Folds, and today we are on our way to Austin, Texas for some plant tourism series. So I will be traveling to different cities out of North Dallas, which is where I'm based at. And after 3.5 hours of driving, we made it to Austin, Texas. I'm very excited to share with you some local and big box stores for plant shopping. And so the first one up is going to be the Great Outdoors Garden Center. It is one of the premier plant nurseries out in Austin, Texas. It was a highly recommended plant nursery, so I wanted to show you guys what kind of plants we have here. So my plant foldies, and if you're new to the channel, I call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies. Welcome. And you can see that right off the bat, this is a very interesting plant nursery. They've got a huge elephant right here with some Hedera helix, guys, or Hedera helix, English ivy, just kind of trailing down this elephant right here. I think that is really cool. It looks like it's going to be filled up with some more English ivy eventually. And then we see some tomato cages right here. And look at this. There is a full-blown koi pond and water feature right here. I really like that a lot. Love koi fish. I feel like, you know, that just gives us those zen vibes right over there. I would love to be able to have a koi pond someday and maybe even have a water fixture like this in my backyard. Who knows if that'll ever happen, but it's always nice to dream about things you want in your landscape. And look at that Tory Bridge gate at the very top of the waterfalls right over there. But you can see, look at these beautiful koi. Love koi. In the past, I've actually taken care of some fancy goldfish. I had a whole setup where I had like a feeding trough where it was 100 gallons and had some fancy goldfish there. And right off the bat, we are seeing a bonfire dwarf peach tree. Gorgeous looking peach tree. I actually had one that I bought from Home Depot about 2 years ago, and it is giving me some beautiful cherry blossoms. And we can walk over here. I want to go ahead and feature a lot of these plants just because outdoor plants are also important. This one right over here is a Fatsa japonica, or a Japanese Aurelia. This one is for $37.99 in a 10-inch planter. Really like that a lot. And I do like the fact that you can grow Japanese Aurelia in the North Dallas area. It can actually take some of the cold. And we've got some beautiful coral bells right over here. These make great ground covers for landscapes. It does give us that gothic garden look. You can see the dark foliage, the purple undersides of the leaves, even the veining of it. It looks super cool. I don't think you would be able to grow coral bells indoors. Never tried it. Let me know, my plant foldies, if you've been able to do something like that. And right over here, we've got some Zen vibes, some beautiful little stone statues. I would love to be able to have some of those stone lanterns in my landscape as well. I do have a Japanese maple garden in my backyard, which I took some footage for that I will eventually show you guys as well. And right over here, we've been talking a lot about wax begonia, or I have been featuring that in my latest plant videos. You can see that they've got an array of wax begonias. I never really took a look at these wax begonias in the past. These are for $4.99. And what I like about Great Outdoors is the fact that they have the plant ID, but they also have the plant care tips and the plant characteristics, which makes it very easy for anybody that is not really in tune with the plant. That'll give them a higher chance of surviving just because we're a little bit more educated. And that's the reason why I like to make plant shopping videos and give you my personal insights. I try my very best to give you guys daily content, 1 hour content each day, featuring local plant nurseries like this, and obviously our big box stores. But you can see how gorgeous these wax begonia are. This is the one I actually bought at Walmart. I bought a 4-pack that I'm going to eventually repot in a planter. I'm going to grow it outside just because these wax begonia can tolerate a lot of lighting conditions. They can take full sun, which I think is amazing, and tolerate lower light conditions. I've done some research on it, and it looks like you can grow these indoors. This one is it has a name. This one is a cocktail vodka. Begonia, really like that a lot. I ended up getting the one with the white blooms because I felt like that chocolate dark foliage would really contrast the white blooms. And right over here, we've got some assorted coleus. These are for $3.99. Love coleus plants, very easy to care for plants. My grandmother, who is my source of inspiration for even getting into plants as a child, she grows coleus like it is nothing. So like she is able to grow them to large sizes. I would love for her to get some coleus, and she grows them outdoors. They get really nice, full, and just really nice looking plants. I do like the colors. And this one is a coleus Lime Delight, so I'm glad that they have plant IDs for this. My family is from the Philippines, and in the Philippines they call coleus Mayana plants. So I always find it interesting that other parts of the country and other parts of the world call plants different names. But the thing about coleus is you can grow them indoors. I found an Instagram account where this lady in Europe actually grows coleus, trains them to be like tree form. So they actually can get a little bit woody in the stems as they mature. So that's something I might be interested in doing down the road. There's a lot of plants that I never knew could grow indoors or can be trained a certain way. I like coleus plants. They kind of remind me of crotons. It's either a love or hate relationship. They're not that difficult. They just require a lot of bright light. So they like full sun. And then right over here, this is what the main event it is to go into the greenhouse to go look at the house plants, the indoor house plants. And you can see right off the bat, they've got a bunch of Monstera deliciosas just outside of the greenhouse. So I'm just really excited to show you guys what it is. We are about to be entering this paradise. So we're just going to take a moment and take a look at this. I'm at a loss for words. I don't even know where to start. This greenhouse is so full of plants. So we're just going to go ahead and start at the very, very beginning. So right over here, we are looking at some Philodendron brandtianums on totems. So in my last plant nursery video, I was able to show you Plant Keeper Incorporated, which is a local nursery store in downtown Dallas. And they had a bunch of Philodendron brandtianums in totems, growing up totem poles. With philodendron, when they grow up a totem pole, a moss pole, or some type of plank, the leaves get larger and just more mature. They start to fenestrate, and that's really cool that the Great Outdoors Plant Nursery has totems as well. And you can just see how massive it is. And then right over here, they've got an assortment of Ficus benjamina plants. Let's go ahead and take a look at this one. I love this Ficus benjamina Starlight. This one is for $38.99 in a 10-inch planter. That is not a bad price at all for Ficus benjamina. This one is really cool because I love the white variegation. It's very much contrasting the green foliage. And with Ficus benjamina, they're considered an indoor tree, or a tree that you would grow indoors, but don't let that fool you. You definitely have to give it bright indirect light. Ficus in general need bright light, otherwise they get unhappy. And you can see even here the specifics of this Ficus benjamina neon. This species sheds around half of its leaves when moved around, and it takes 2 to 3 months to flush out the new leaves. So like, as you can see, once you move a Ficus benjamina out of its actual place that it stayed at, it does get a little bit unhappy, and there is an acclimation period. That is the only drawback with Ficus benjamina. I would say with Ficus benjamina, it's all about consistency. So consistent place where it's placed, consistent light, consistent watering. So don't not water it for a month and then all of a sudden flood it with water. It's just not going to be happy. And this is the reason why I like to do these plant shopping videos, especially with local plant nurseries. I know that a majority of our viewers have discovered my channel because of big box store plant shopping videos. And don't get me wrong, I love big box stores. I think we shop there. But when you think about big box stores, you're not going to be able to see as much diversity in plants like this. Even these starter plants for $2.99 are really interesting. Like you can see right here, there's some Tradescanthia. This one I've never seen. I don't know the plant ID for this one, but to go back to that, I think that, local plant nurseries are places that we need to be visiting. We need to be supporting local plant nurseries. Big box stores, they definitely can give you some very cost-effective plants. I would say the pricing is cheaper, but if you're really wanting to learn about plants and what other types of plants are out there besides the common plants that you would find at a big box store, being able to feature this amazing plant nursery, The Great Outdoors in Austin, it just gives more viewers a diverse, selection of plants, and I like to talk about them. Unfortunately, I don't know all of the plant IDs here, so this is the reason why I am so thankful for all of the plant foldies, the ones that come on my live premiere chats every evening and chat and then just engage with me. I really appreciate that. So in a nutshell, if you guys can, I do work very hard to produce these videos. I would ask, if you get a chance, please hit the like button on my videos and leave some comments. I know YouTube really rewards engagement, and if you guys want me to continue to produce these 1-hour videos, I really just ask that you guys hit the like button at the very least. That's all I'm asking for, the support. So I will stop with my shameless rant for just some support and talk about the plants. So as you guys can see right over here, these are 2-inch starter planters that you can buy for $2.99, and you can see right over here there's just so many plants. What I like about The Great Outdoors is they do have the plants organized by species and genus. So like right off the bat, we have some more ZZ plants. The thing about ZZ plants are these are compact ZZ plants. I really like this a lot, and it's for $9.99. I've been able to find these at like grocery stores like Kroger. I would like to get a ZZ because it doesn't get that large. It's a dwarf form of a ZZ plant. And with ZZ plants, they can tolerate lower light conditions. I wouldn't say they would thrive, but they definitely wouldn't decline in health. And there are some small spaces that I would love to just add like a tiny ZZ plant just to give it a touch of green, adding houseplants, and we talk about this. I'll talk about this in a future video. It's all about plant styling, the aesthetic of your home, your space, what you want to show in terms of your plants. So I will be very excited to do that. I actually spent some time today trying to move some things around. I'm going to go ahead and revisit and make my plant room. So I ended up buying some grow lights to put on some shelves. So stay tuned for that. This is a cool plant that I really want to get into my collection. This is a Polynesian ivy, what they call a watermelon vine. It says, that you definitely have to trim this back down, otherwise it will get leggy. And I would think that the trimmings or the cuttings would easily root in water. I've seen this Polynesian ivy featured at big box stores, specifically at Lowe's, where Costa Farms has it as an exotic angels hanging basket. And if you talk about begonias, look at this beautiful begonia. This is a begonia butterfly. So what I like about The Great Outdoors as well is it will specifically say this is a begonia that is for advanced care, not for a beginner. And it just gives you specifics about what the plant needs. So I am going to be showing you guys the plant care and plant characteristics. Feel free to pause the video if you want to read throughout the plant care, or even screenshot it if you're interested in getting the plant for your plant collection. And then right over here, we've got a begonia B. pinnatifida. I can't really pronounce the name, but what this reminds me of on the foliage, I've never seen begonia look like this, is if you ever looked at lace leaf Japanese maples, they definitely give you that vibe with that begonia. And then Phoetonias. I love pink plants. Pink plants are amazing. This Phoetonia is a Phoetonia pink skeleton. Look at how bright that pink is. That would be an awesome plant to also add. I don't have any Phoetonia in my collection so far, but I eventually will add that, say, in a terrarium. And wow, look at this Tradescantia nanuk, and this is only for $12.99. Tradescantia nanuk is definitely my favorite Tradescantia. What I like about it is obviously it's a pink plant. It's easy to take care of. You can take many cuttings from this and it will root in water very quickly. Like literally you can cut it, put it in water, 2 to 3 days later, it's going to root. And the benefits about cutting back a Tradescantia nanuk or any type of Tradescantia is it really prevents it from getting leggy. The problem with Tradescantia is they get leggy, but if you are pretty passionate about just cutting it back, it's not something that would destroy the plant. If honestly, it would actually make it more full. And looking at all of those Tradescanthias, that's not a bad looking plant at all. They're really nice and full already. And then we've got a butterwort plant here for $10.99. I don't know much about this plant. I did hear that this plant really does require some more high humidity, so it might be more so a terrarium plant. That is a cute little bloom. And then you can see right over here, we've got some beautiful Philodendron Prince of Orange in a 4-inch starter plant. It's an $8.99 philodendron, and that's actually not a bad price for a Philodendron Prince of Orange. I've seen them being sold for more than that, and you could look at this super healthy looking plant. What I love about Philodendron Prince of Orange is obviously the new leaves have a bright orange color about it. That's where it gets its name. This philodendron can actually grow up to 2 to 3 feet in width and height, so it can get pretty big. And right over here we've got a Sansevieria francisii in a 4-inch planter. This is kind of similar to a Sansevieria or snake plant starfish. I like these types of snake plants more so than the other ones, just because they've got thicker foliage. These can grow in direct sunlight or can be in a very dark space in your home, and they can tolerate both. They will definitely thrive in bright full sun. Actually, I've done that before. And you can see right here we've got a Tradescanthia albo. This one is not a bad price at all, $16.99. Actually, it's a little bit pricey for that because you could probably get a hanging basket full of this by Costa Farms. But anyways, the cool thing about this is you can definitely get more cuttings out of it. I remember starting out just getting like a one node cutting. I stuck it in leca, and then it started to get really long, chopped it up and stuck it back into the leca. And now I've got a full plant about as full as this 4-inch planter. So very easy to propagate and multiply. I do like Tradescanthia. Again, the more you cut it back, the fuller and lush it's going to be, and you can get more cuttings out of it as well. So super nice. And what I like about the Great Outdoors is the greenhouse. Look at all of this beautiful natural light. And I came and filmed on a Saturday. I was surprised that there weren't as many people in the greenhouse. Really thankful for that, just because I can feature different types of plant. Like for instance, this one, I've never seen this. Plant Folies, have you ever heard of a lucky bamboo plant? This one is for $16.99. I thought this plant was like an avocado plant, but it is not. And you can see right here, look at how beautiful that green foliage is. You can see that there is some new growth coming out. I would assume this plant may be more of a vigorous grower, something that could grow as big as a tree indoors. I don't know much about it. I'm just going by just my first impressions, but look at how cute that is. It looks like a lucky bean for sure. And if you look at the stems, it looks like these stems are starting to get woody as it matures. So I'm assuming this could be like, like a ficus type plant. You can grow indoors as an actual indoor tree. That is not a bad price at all. And I've told myself when I was going to go to the Great Outdoors that I was only going to limit myself to one plant. Whenever you travel to another city, I mean, this is 3.5 hours away. I had to go get an Airbnb, gas, etc., food and lodging. It does get a little costly, but I definitely wanted to film these videos so we can have a collection of local plant tourism. And you can see right here, I've never seen this before, is a Hoya variegata, but in a hanging basket. This is super cool. This is why I like the Great Outdoors. They've got aisles of a specific type of genus species of plants. And you can see right over here, this is super healthy as well. It's starting to trail and you can see the new growth coming out. I love the shape of the leaves, that heart-shaped leaves. I love variegated plants. I am starting to become a Hoya head. Those folks that really like Hoyas, I can see why, just because they come in different varieties and they're just gorgeous. Here is another one. This is my very first time ever seeing this. This is a Hoya variegated reverse. So what that means is it is a variegated Hoya, same type, but instead of the variegation being on the edges of the leaf, it's actually the inner part of the actual leaf. So I really think that's cool. You get the variegation in the middle, and then the green actually surrounds that variegation. Really nice looking Hoya. It's more of the uncommon one. This one is a little bit pricey. I think it's $82.99 for this hanging basket. But you know, these are hard to find Hoyas. I mean, literally, you don't really find that a lot. The reverse version, you can find the variegated version more so, but not the reverse. I did want to go ahead and take both hanging baskets down to show you the comparison. So this is the reverse variegated Hoya carrii, and then we have our original variegated Hoya carrii right here. Let me know in the comments, my plant foldies, or the people watching this in the live premiere, which one would you pick? Honestly, I would buy both. Again, that would be more than $100 just to buy both of these, but I would think it'd be worth it. I'm just being very good to myself to not buy as many plants, just because not only is, plants can be costly, it's a matter of how many plants you're bringing into your home. You know, I talk about this all the time, but if you bring a lot of plants into your home, like if you have hundreds of plants, but you don't do your research on lighting conditions, care conditions, and more importantly, the time you invest, it becomes more overwhelming rather than a satisfying hobby, a relaxing hobby. And right over here, we've got some Hoya compacta variegata. This is a Hoya that I do want to add to my houseplant collection. The only thing is I have my reservations about adding this specific Hoya because in the past, I've had some really bad mealybug infestations. I would say now that I've rejuvenated my houseplant collection, I've been better at pest upkeep. I am more educated about preventatives to keep those pests. But can you imagine getting like mealybugs in a Hoya compacta, even just the green version? You could see Hoya, mealybugs just kind of hiding into those crevices and cracks, and it would just be a complete nightmare to try to get rid of that pest. So if I'm going to get one, I definitely want to make sure my space is stabilized where I don't really have any pests. And you definitely want to do some spraying just to make sure that you prevent pests from ever getting into the Hoya compacta. But you can see that they have this one for $16.99 in a 4-inch planter. So if you don't want to buy a hanging basket full of Hoya compacta or Hindu rope, you can get the smaller versions. I like that the Great Outdoors has different varieties and sizes of plants. Like this one right here, if you wanted to get one a little bit larger, you can get this 6-inch planter of Hoya compacta. I do want to reserve getting a Hoya compacta, but I want the variegated version. I'm going to see if I can get a good price for it somewhere else. And then right over here, we've got a Hoya carnosa tricolor. Beautiful looking Hoya. What I love about it is the stems are pink. I'm all about stem interest, stem coloration as well on plants, not just the actual leaf, but the stems, and that's really cool. This one is for $26.99. This one is in a 6-inch planter. That is actually not a bad price for a Hoya, and you can even see that it's called a wax plant. You can see the blooms. Apparently the blooms are white for this one. I am interested, and I'm probably going to be more addicted to Hoyas once I can get my Hoyas to bloom. And then right over here, we've got another Hoya pack. I'm not even going to attempt trying to say this Hoya name. It's a little bit hard for me to pronounce. I've already butchered enough Hoya or just plant names today. This one is for $29.99 in a 6-inch planter. I like this a lot just because it's got more of a matte finish to its leaves. It's not as shiny and waxy as some of the other Hoyas, but you can see that the leaves are thick, so they look very sturdy. I can see why people like Hoyas. When I first started collecting Hoyas, I wasn't really a fan of them just because I thought they all kind of looked alike. But this one right here, for instance, is a Hoya curtsii. You could see that they're smaller than the ones that we just saw. That one might need a little bit tender love and joy and care, but I think that you can actually rehab that one. But you can see right over here, we've got a ton of Hoyas. We've got even more Hoya hanging baskets here. We've got some Hoya carrii. Those lucky bean plants are super cool. And I haven't really seen a lot of Dallas, Fort Worth local plant nurseries really carrying a lot of hanging baskets of Hoyas. So this is really cool. Like this one, I really like. This is a Hoya fungii cross publicaix Hoya. And what I like about this Hoya is that it's trailing for one, and then two, the narrow leaves, and then also the color of the leaves is really nice. That's a cool thing about Hoyas. The way their growth pattern is, they actually shoot out a bunch of runners, and then the runners end up being filled with beautiful waxy foliage. Like right over here, we are looking at a Hoya quintiana, which is basically a variegated Hoya wayetii. And I like this a lot. I used to have that. And the thing about Hoya, you can actually sun stress them. And what that means is if you give it and flood it with a lot of bright light, even full sun, you can get some really interesting variegation, some pinks, some very dark reds. I've seen it happen. So especially with the Hoya Quintiana. The other one that we just looked at was just a regular Hoya carnosa, the green version. This Hoya that I'm picking up for $28.99 is one of my favorite Hoyas. This is a Hoya Chelsea. While it is still just a regular green Hoya, there's no variegation. What I like about it is just the leaf shape. It's got a round heart-shaped leaf. It actually looks like a cup almost. Really like that a lot. And then right next to it obviously is a Hoya I will buy eventually, a Hoya compacta variegata. And I hope that all of my plant foldies, especially Kathy from Canada, I know you love some Hoyas. I'm trying my very best to show you guys even more Hoyas as I go plant shopping. This one's a really nice looking one, for instance. Hoya carnosa Crimson Queen. The thing about Hoya carnosa Crimson Queen, the way you can tell it is apparently the variegation outlines are on the outer part of the leaf, and most of the green is going to be in the middle part of the leaf. And this Hoya, I'm not going to attempt to say this because it's a really long name, but we'll just say this Hoya Splash right here for $28.99. Gorgeous looking Hoya, but what I love about this Hoya the most is obviously the green foliage, but it looks like somebody took like a pen, a pencil, and literally just drew those markings, those lines for the veinings. That's really nice. And I also like the fact that this is a happy Hoya because it's shooting out more runners that eventually will be filled with that beautiful foliage. And then you can see right here, wax vine Hoya. It'll tell you the zones it grows in and moderate to high bright light. So the great outdoors has really outdone itself. I can see why this is a premier plant nursery for Austin, just because when you pull up this, for instance, this Hoya Black Margin Splash, you can see the plant characteristics, the price of the plant, the characteristics of the plant. And I think that's very important. You know, you don't really get that kind of care for the plants at a big box store. Like, you're not really educated with the plant care, so that's really cool. I mean, sometimes you can look at the back of a plant ID and it'll give you some generic like plant care tips, but these will go specifically into what the specific plant needs, and I really like that a lot. I think knowing a plant care, plant characteristics in the care will give us better decision making on where we place our plants, where we how much time we need to invest in the plants. Like this right here, we've got a Hoya Chelsea again in a 4-inch planter. I would actually start with a 4-inch planter. And then here we have a Hoya Rosita for $16.99. Look at that. It's trailing. It's lovely. Even if it's just a green Hoya, that's one of those, the beauties of it. And I'm so glad that I'm even exposing myself to plants that I have not really seen. And the great outdoors is really giving me such an amazing experience so far. I can't tell you how overwhelming and exciting it is to see this in person. You know, when I take you to my big box store plant shopping videos or even local nursery tours, I can't capture even on the lens how amazing these plants look in person. Like this one right here, this is for $234.99, 25% off, is a Tomathophyllum noble. It is a massive plant. I can't even get the plant in one frame. It's so large, and that's a really good price for the Tomathophyllum. I wish I had the space to grow such a large plant, but I don't. But my dream is to someday maybe get a house with really large, just a really large house with tall ceilings, windows, and just walls of just glass, so I can get a lot of natural light. And I had to go pan over here and show you guys these precious looking fancy goldfish. So something about me, I used to take care of goldfish. Actually fancy goldfish care was a huge hobby of mine. I used to import goldfish directly from Japan. And you can see they've got a telescope eye here. They've got a couple of orandas over here. And just look at how gorgeous it is. I really like the egg shape of these fish. They do require a lot of care though, so I don't really have them anymore. The thing about goldfish, fancy goldfish, is for every goldfish you have to have at least 25 gallons per goldfish, just because they make a lot of fish waste. But it would be interesting that you use that water to fertilize these plants. Fish water is amazing for your plants, just FYI. I remember when I had goldfish, I would use the fish water to water my plants and they thrived. And you can see we've got some Dieffenbachia camouflage right over here. I got to go back to these goldfish. I'm so sorry, but it's just one of those things where I can't help but look at it. It's just giving me some deja vu, memories about, keeping goldfish. I might eventually bring goldfish back into my home, maybe grow one, have a little setup like this in my garage. We'll see. And then right over here, we've got a Dieffenbachia Sublime, or what you would call a sparkle. This one is for $48.99. Love this. I regret not buying this at Lowe's when it was on sale for $14.99. The same size, same look. But you can see the reason why I like this Dieffenbachia is because of the very different contrast in the variegation. You've got a very deep green among the lime yellow. And I have to look at these goldfish again. It's actually feeding, so I had to get that on camera. Look at how cute he is. That is an Aranda goldfish right here. Actually, plant foldies, let me know if you keep goldfish or if you're into goldfish and koi. I have a lot of other interests besides just plants, specifically bonsai, origami, or anything Japanese related. I really like the culture. And I finally am able to see the plant ID for this Dieffenbachia. That is a Dieffenbachia Tiki. Thank you to the Great Outdoors for having that, because that is another Dieffenbachia I see at Walmart and at big box stores. This one is for $42.99. And I just really like the fact that they have those stickers and labels and have taken the time to give us the plant characteristics. So feel free, as I show you guys all of these plants, there's so many to look at today. That's why I had to go ahead and make this a 2-part series. So you'll see part 1, and then part 2 will actually feature all of the super rare philodendrons. There was like a full aisle of them, and I wanted to make sure that I took the time to showcase that. I feel like a lot of the houseplant enthusiasts would appreciate looking at some rare aroids and philodendrons, although that is a really nice looking palm. We're passing by some more Aurelias right over there. I actually rescued an Aurelia, Bafariana Aurelia, a variegated Aurelia, for $1 at Lowe's, and it's doing very well for me. And we're looking at some Ficus lyrata's over here. I love Ficus lyrata's. They used to be considered a very finicky tree. I haven't had any issues with mine. Mind you, I got mine for 99 cents at a local grocery store called Sprouts, and I thought that was really cool. It's pushed out some new growth. And over here, we've got a Ficus Amstel King. This one is for $669.99. Look at how massive this tree is. Wow. Now, if I had high ceilings and so much bright natural light, or even a greenhouse, I would buy that Ficus. Again, Ficus are only considered finicky because they just require a lot of light, and when they don't get enough light, they either get leggy, they drop their leaves, or they just decline in health. Now, we're looking at a Ficus Audrey right over here. Really like Ficus Audrey. This was for $42.99. That is a little bit more pricey. I bought mine in a 6-inch planter from Walmart about 2 years ago, and it has grown massive. I do feel bad because the end of last year, I just really neglected it, didn't really water it, and then eventually I had to bring it inside in my garage, and there wasn't enough light to really sustain it, so it dropped all of its leaves. The good thing is I noticed that there were new sprouts of leaves, so it is warm enough for me to bring it back outside. I grow all of my Ficus trees outside. They do better outside. I've actually grown a lot of them in full sun, and they haven't they haven't had any issues. And mind you, I live in North Dallas, and the summers are 100+ degrees, but for some reason my Ficus trees, they could handle it. I grew them in full sun. And you can see right over here, we've got some Ficus altissima. This is another Ficus that I am a huge fan of, just because I like that green on green variegation. That yellow variegation is intense. And with this particular Ficus, the more light you give it, the better the variegation is going to look. I definitely want to get one of these. I might try to find one at Trader Joe's if they have it. If not, I might just buy it at a local plant nursery. But you can see here, we've got some Ficus burgundy. We've got a Ficus elastica shiveriana. So 3 to 4 years ago, this ficus was very rare, and even like a one leaf, one node cutting was over $100. And now you can get a full 10-inch planter for $59.99. This is a very slow growing Ficus elastica though. I actually bought one from Green Escapes about a year ago or a year and a half ago, and it hasn't grown as much. It's definitely much larger than the 2-inch starter planter that I got it, but it's one that's just a very slow growing plant. And then right over here, we are going to be looking at some pre-bonsai in just a second, but I wanted to pan over and show you all these gorgeous hanging plants that we have available. So here we have a spider plant, a hanging one, and when I say that this is perfection, it is perfection. Look at these leaves. The tips of the leaves are not browning. Whenever I see a spider plant at a big box store, and I sound like I'm bashing big box stores, but really spider plants always have a little bit of crisping, but these ones are in perfect condition. So that's another plant that I was tempted to buy. I am being very good about not buying plants. But look at this. Look at that atrium right there and all of the other plants available. I just love it. This is just amazing to me. I hope you guys are enjoying the plants you're seeing so far. And then right over here, we have a Dieffenbachia reflector. This one is actually on sale. And it actually specifically tells you how to not make it leggy. With Dieffenbachia, what makes them challenging is you definitely have to give it a lot of bright indirect light. When you don't, it gets leggy, so you want to trim it back. You can actually trim that one on the far left, like that whole cane back, and water propagate it, and then more shoots will actually come out from the cut. I am going to eventually add a Dieffenbachia reflector, because for a Dieffenbachia, and this is only $16.99, that is not a bad price at all. Typically I see it for $19.99 plus. I do like the velvety texture of the leaves, and also the speckling of it. I don't really see a Dieffenbachia that is velvety like this, so this one is a special plant for sure. I just need to make sure I have enough light. It is all about the light, my plant foldies. If you are going to be growing plants, you have to really assess your lighting conditions. And look at this plant. This is a Dieffenbachia crocodile for $14.99. I haven't ever seen this Dieffenbachia before, and that's the thing. I didn't realize there were a lot of varieties of Dieffenbachia. This one is a little bit more subtle on its variegation. I do like that it's more minty and just really subtle. Sometimes subtle plants in their foliage is actually better than having plants that just have a lot of contrast. It really just depends on what you're looking for. This is actually an elegant looking plant. And you can see that there are some care tips for Dieffenbachia. And this one I've never seen out at a local plant nursery in Dallas. This is a fig ivy oak leaf. Look at that though. Look at how tiny those leaves are, and those leaves resemble like a little trident maple or an ivy. Now, I don't know the plant care tips for this, so plant foldies or anybody that has ever grown a fig ivy oak leaf, please let me know if you need to treat them more like a fern, or what the care conditions are. I would really love to hear from you, so please leave that in the comments. If you are watching this video or if you're on the live premiere chat, let me know what you think. And then we're looking at some Aralia parsleys right over here for $10.99. Gotta love some Aralia plants. They have a uniqueness about them because as they mature, they get a little bit more stumpy. They can become more full-blown trees, and there is a wide variety of them. I do love the texture of that parsley Aralia. And right over here, we can just admire some more of the plants. And can we talk about how gorgeous this greenhouse is? Love the lighting. And you can see here we've got some Ficus triangularis variegata, nice looking Ficus triangularis. This variegated plant is one that used to be very uncommon as well. Now you can see larger sizes for it. It is a bit of a finicky plant though, just like most Ficus. And this one is for $69.99. Love the leaf shape of it, and the variegation is awesome. But check this out. This one is for $459.99. This is just a regular Ficus triangularis, the green form, but look at that. I think that this plant is actually more attractive than the variegated form we just saw, just because I feel like it being green and just a simple leaf shape, you can really admire just the shape versus having to compete with like the variegation. So that is the thing about, you know, green plants. You know, sometimes we're not as a big of a fan. We want to get all these variegated plants, but this is an example for me, at least. I prefer the green version versus the variegated one, and you have a more sturdy and stable plant versus the variegated one. What else do we have going over here? It's just so many plants. Like I just can't get over it. Can't get over all of these plants. And right over here, we are going to be looking at some indoor bonsai, or more so pre-bonsai, which is basically the starter plant. So bonsai is the art of growing trees in shallow pots. It originally came from China, but it actually became more popularized in Japanese culture. I like the Brazilian rain tree. It's a bonsai I would love to add to my collection, and the Barbados cherry. If you haven't seen my first bonsai that I've created since I started doing bonsai again, I made a variegated jade bonsai. I ended up buying that pre-bonsai material for $12.99 at Callaway's Nursery, which is a chain of plant nurseries out in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And you can see right here, we've got a Schefflera Moondrop. I ended up buying one of these as a Costa Farms Exotic Angels starter plant from Walmart. It's doing very well for me. I love just how compact the leaves are. And you know, you can't go to a nursery store, big box store, and not see a Photonia. This one is in a 6-inch assortment for $19.99. They've got different types of Photonia. Look at how gorgeous the leaves are. That pink veination is absolutely stunning. And then we have some Ficus elastica rubies right here. $16.99, not a bad looking price at all, or for this Ficus elastica ruby. The trick about this is you need to give it a lot of bright light, because if you don't, you won't get that ruby like reddish tone to its leaves, which makes this, you know, rubber tree very special. And then right over here, we've got some Photonia red anns. Really like this a lot. The red veining is really gorgeous. This one's for $11.99. I love this plant very much, just because it is, you know, just a gorgeous looking red plant. I love red plants. Pink plants is gorgeous. You can see these Schefflera Moondrops are nice looking as well, but this is another Schefflera I would like to add to my collection. This is a Schefflera Gold Capilla. This one is only for $7.99 in a 4-inch starter planter. Very nice price indeed. And I like this Schefflera just because the variegation almost reminds me of the reverse variegated Hoya carrii. Most of the variegation comes from the middle part of the leaf, and in the leaf, the green part actually encompasses the variegation. I think that's really cool. These plants definitely don't require nearly as much care as well. I think umbrella tree plants, or that's what you would call them, are nice. I've seen them even done in a bonsai form, so I definitely am going to take a look at that and see if there's some really good specimens. But you can see we've got some hanging baskets of spider plants, Pachira aquatica, or money tree plants right over here. This one is not a bad price, $12.99 for a 4-inch braided money tree right here. I am looking to add a money tree to my collection, but I'm looking for one that is a variegated form. I did my research. It's like $150 for something this size in a variegated form. So I'm going to wait to see if it'll just go down in price. What's interesting is where my family's from in the Philippines, they've got a lot of variegated Pachira aquatica, and you can get a really nice size one for like $40 US. So again, for my international plant foldies or my viewers watching this, leave in the comments what your pricing looks like for your plants. I'm just curious to see how prices are in different parts of the world, and see if we can make a compare and contrast. But you can see here we've got a Photonia mini white, really nice looking Photonia. The thing about Photonias, and even though they look really gorgeous right now, they do require a little bit higher humidities. So I would say these are better suited for like a terrarium setting. I do plan on creating a terrarium. I have a lamp that I bought from Target that you can actually convert into a terrarium. I'm gonna go ahead and clean it up, maybe just make it a leca, semi-hydroponic situation. We'll see. And then over here, we've got some more Ficus elastica tanikis. These are for $27.99 in a 6-inch planter. I refrain from buying rubber trees or Ficus elasticas in general just because Trader Joe's has them for the same size, but for $12.99. Pachira aquatica, again, this one is in a 5-inch planter. Nice looking money tree. Let me know in the comments, plant folies, if you guys grow Pachira aquatica or money trees. I think they're lovely. I wish they weren't always braided though. I would prefer just like the actual tree form. And you can see we've got some spider plants here. That's the Bonnie, which is the curly version. And then we've got some more Phontonias. We've got some Ficus elastica burgundies. And look at how perfect this hanging basket of spider plant is. Like when I say that there is no brown or crisping on the tips of the leaves, there really isn't. This one is a really nice looking one. Look at all of the babies. You can literally snip, half a dozen of these and have a bunch. It looks like somebody changed their mind. They just left it in the ground. But you can see here, we've got a Ficus elastica Melanie. This is another Ficus elastica I don't see quite often, and especially in a 4-inch starter planter, that would be really nice to maybe try to make into a bonsai form. I don't know if anybody's tried making rubber trees in a bonsai. That would be interesting to see. And you can see right over here, we've got some money trees. We're gonna be looking at some more of the plant care tips. That's the thing about the great outdoors in Austin. This nursery really has everything on point, from just the pricing to the plant care to the plant characteristics. And you can see right here, we've got a Pachira aquatica stump. So I actually think the stump is pretty cool. And we are getting to some of my favorite plants, which are Syngonium. So this one is just another Syngonium. Unfortunately, this one doesn't have a plant ID for this. This looks like a Syngonium plum illusion or some type of Syngonium that is in the illusion realm. I like that the leaves are rounder versus being more narrow and like arrowhead. I prefer that type of Syngonium. Syngoniums can grow up a pole, or they can be like this Syngonium, which is a mini pixie one. This one is for $7.99. I am so tempted to buy this one. I rarely see this at local plant nurseries, much less big box stores. And what's special about this Syngonium is it remains in a dwarf form. So it doesn't have to climb up a pole. It just kind of clumps up. It just kind of spreads. It's more like ground cover. And I do like how tiny the leaves are. These are precious. $7.99 is not bad at all for this. These would be really good as well for like terrarium or fairy garden type settings. This is another plant that I probably should have taken home with me back to North Dallas, but alas, I had really good restraint. And this one is also another Syngonium I would have taken home. This is a Syngonium Silver Fox. $15.99 is not bad at all. What I like about this particular Syngonium is obviously the leaf shape. It has a narrow form. There's also a narrow lance leaf Syngonium, but this one has more of a minty light green, almost white look about it, and that makes it special. You don't really see a lot of plants like that. And this one is actually a vigorous grower as well. Actually, Syngoniums in general are vigorous growers. Very easy to grow. You do need to give them bright indirect light to get the best coloration. Like for instance, this Syngonium Moonshine right here, it will not remain this light ghostly color unless you give it bright indirect light. It'll start to get a little bit more green. So just FYI on that. And wow, $58.99 for a hanging basket of Syngonium albo. That is awesome, because there are some plant nurseries in Dallas that are selling like a 4-inch planter for more than $50, but for a full hanging basket, that is not bad. Now, mind you, this one has a little bit more green versus the albo. So here's what I would tell you about the Syngonium albo. It is a vigorous grower, but it can easily revert. So as you start seeing green foliage, you want to trim that back down to promote more variegation. I've even trimmed it down all the way down to like 1 node and reset the plant, but you can see this is trailing already, and you can actually chop up all of these Syngoniums, node by node, and have several to propagate in water. They root easily in water. And then we have another Syngonium here. Not sure what this is, but this one is for $7.99. Look at how beautiful the veining of the leaves are. And I like the fact that it is a little bit rounder in shape, but Oh my goodness, look at this one. This one is a Syngonium milk confetti for $24.99 in a 4-inch planter. And while it is in a smaller planter, this is super lush, full. There's several plants in this one. And this is still an uncommon Syngonium. This used to actually cost a lot more than it does now, 3 to 4 years ago. But what I like about this is obviously the pink speckling. It looks like confetti. You can tell a milk confetti versus just a confetti by looking at the stems. The stems on the milk confetti have a little bit of pink in it. But you can see that this plant nursery has it going on. There's several plants here, and I even like looking at the light. Look at that hanging basket right there, and then we've got a bunch of Dracaena. So this brought me a lot of joy, and this is the reason why. This is a Dracaena Steed Soul. This one is for $62.99. So I remember seeing this Dracaena several times at HEB, which is a local grocery store out in Texas, but I never knew the plant ID. So I really appreciate the Great Outdoors really having their plant IDs on point. It's really nice to learn. You know, I learn a lot about plants by just watching and shopping and reading the tags. Like this one is the Dracaena Dragon series. I'm not 100% sure what this one is. This one might be another type plant ID, but this one I've seen before. $12.99 is not bad. This is my favorite Dracaena out of all the Dracaenas. This one is a Dracaena Urban Urchin, or that's what Proven Winners calls it. I've seen that at Home Depot. And then this one I would say is a Dracaena Lemon Lime. I've seen that before by Costa Farms, an exotic angel starter plant. And I've also seen this Dracaena right here. This is what they've called the Dracaena White Jewel. Also one that I've seen by Urban Jungle, Costa Farms, that's what they're calling it. But I would buy all three of those. They're all $12.99, but I'm being very good because I could have already filled up my basket with these three. They would have gone home with me. Here is an interesting Dracaena. This is a zebra dragon tree. What's interesting about the zebra dragon tree is it's definitely the opposite of what a Dracaena can do. This one requires bright indirect light versus most Dracaenas that can tolerate lower light conditions. This one does not like to be underwater, like underwatered. That means you have to keep the soil moist versus Dracaenas that can tolerate being dry for a long time and it won't decline in health. So really interesting. And it's just interesting that even in a genus or a species of plants, there is a diverse, plant care. And here we have a very subtle variegated Dracaena Santa Rosa for $17.99. You can see that it's got very subtle variegation. I appreciate plants like that as well. Sometimes having high contrast variegation is nice, but also having, subtle variegation. This one is a perfect looking spider plant Hawaii. This one is the one that has green on green variegation. The foliage is stunning. And then we have some more Dracaenas right over here. A bunch of Dracaena White Jewels. And look at this. This is a China doll plant, but look at how large and lush this one is. I recently bought one for $3.98 at HEB, a grocery store out in Texas. But you can see that it can get really large. I was really afraid that this plant would be fussy, but it's super easy. It just needs to be watered a little bit more so. But other than that, I didn't think that it would, retain such delicate looking foliage. I love it a lot. I hope mine will grow that large or even larger. And then we've got some more Dracaena Steed Souls right over here. I like it. This is for $16.99. What's interesting is as the leaves mature, they become darker, but as the leaves come out, they have higher contrast in the variegation. So there's this like from light to dark, and oh my goodness, guys, look at this. Aglonemas everywhere. And you already know, if you're a plant foldie or somebody that watches my channel, I love Aglonemas. Aglonemas are amazing, and I'm going to show you different types of Aglonema today. So this one is an Aglonema Jubilee Petite in an 8-inch planter. Not a bad price. I think it's like $39.99, but look at how lush and full that is. Definitely love that. And what else do we have here? I did want to show you guys this. Hoya on a totem. So, you know, people ask if you can grow Hoyas up a pole. Yes, you can. And look at how they look when they're up a pole. Really nice looking Hoya. I would think these are just typical Hoya carnosas, the green forms, or maybe some type of splashy. And then right over here, we've got an Aglonema Maria. This one is for 50% off, and I can see why, because it is a little bit leggy. Two things you can do to make a Aglonema full again. If it's leggy, you can chop it and propagate it and like wait for the shoots to come out, or repot it in a deeper pot. So like, for instance, if I bought this Aglonema cutlass, all of the canes I would just stick underneath soil. It could actually shoot out more puffs doing it that way. And I've never seen this Aglonema. This is an Aglonema shade. This one has like almost gray foliage, silver foliage versus it being green. Really interesting plant. It's very striking. I love the variegation, and it's interesting. The top part is more like gray, but the undersides are green. And right over here, we've got another Aglonema cutlass. I love how the leaves are very narrow. I also like the color of it. It's got a minty light green color, pastel green. Really like that a lot. It's got some different leaf interest. And that's the thing I like about Aglonemas. There is a lot of variety and diversity in their leaf shapes, and especially the colors. Even though we've got a lot of like similar looking green Aglonemas, they're very special. And wow, I haven't seen an Aglonema spathonema in all of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. This is a Costa Farms release for Trending Tropicals that I have yet to find. So I'm super excited to find this at the Great Outdoors Nursery here in Austin, Texas. This is going home with me. Hands down, this is the one plant that I will buy on my trip. And this one is actually on 25% off, so that's not a bad price at all. I intend to convert this Aglonema into a hydroponic. So if you don't know what hydroponics is, it's basically growing a plant not in any type of substrate. It's just straight water. So I'm gonna actually buy this plant, and when I take it home back to North Dallas, I'm going to convert it, and actually I'm going to do a commercial break and show you the process on how to convert an Aglonema to hydroponics. So this is me actually back home from my trip to Austin. Please make sure you guys stay tuned, because there is a lot more to this plant nursery. I just wanted to cut this and show you guys how I converted this. So the leaves or the roots are actually very healthy roots. You can see that they're very white. And the thing about Aglonema is the roots are really thick, so they actually lend itself very well to a hydroponic or growing them in water. You can see that this Aglonema, there's about 3 or 4 plants, and what Aglonema do is they actually replicate and reproduce itself by shooting out more puffs. What's important, you can see right here, I could actually get 2 Aglonema. That's another way to propagate it, is just to snap that other one in half, and you'll have another one since it's rooted. But what's important about growing plants in water or converting them to grow in just straight water is cleaning out the roots as best as you can, trying to get every bit of dirt off of it. And now that it's springtime, I'm able to do this out in my backyard. So I could use a high pressure hose to really clean that out. So that's, step one, is making sure you're cleaning it out. And I also like to hose down the leaves just in case there's any pests or anything, just to clean up the leaves, if there's any dust. So I like to do that as well. So this is just me power washing and cleaning up the roots. Really nice looking roots as well. I think I can get most of the dirt out, and you can see that it was actually pushing out a couple more pups right there. There's another Aglonema spathonema, and then this one right here, which is the main one. Oops, I hit that with too strong with the high pressure. Is you can see there's about 3 to 4 plants right here. So I think that putting all of these in a bowl would really look nice. The reason why I want to grow hydroponics, or Aglonema and hydroponics, is I really do like the roots as well. I think that the leaves are obviously interesting, but even just being able to see the roots, I think that's another interest that I would like to display in my plants and just my plant styling. So I can't wait to show you my houseplant tour. Hopefully I can give you guys some styling tips as well. But after cleaning up all of the all of the dirt off of the Aglonema roots, I was going to put it in a 6-inch planter, but I decided against it, and I put it in a 4-inch bowl instead. I bought that bowl from Hobby Lobby. It was 50% off, so I bought a bunch of bowls actually because I intend to grow a lot of plants in hydroponics. So I am going to mix Super Thrive alongside with this Fox farm liquid fertilizer that's supposed to help, you know, the plant bounce back. So here's the thing about putting plants in straight water. You have to give it some type of nutrient. So I'm going to do a little bit more research on what kind of nutrients I can put. Also, when converting a plant that was just growing in soil into straight water, there is going to be an acclimation period. So don't be surprised if some of your leaves yellow, if some of the roots kind of rot away. You'll know that it's fully acclimated once you start seeing new growth in the roots. So just FYI, there is an acclimation period. It is normal for the plant to slightly decline in its health. And sometimes some plants just don't make it past the conversion. You know, there's always a chance that the plant may not make it. So that's a risk you take when you're converting a plant from different substrates, whether it's straight water to soil to leca to pond. There's a lot of ways to grow plants, but now this is me converting it into water, and it looks lovely. Please let me know in the comments if you like this look for this Aglonema. Would you have kept it in soil? I'm really happy with what the look looks like. I love that green on green variegation. I will give you guys updates as well on how this plant does in my home. I'm going to put it in a lower light condition for now so it can acclimate. But yeah, look at this. Nice looking hydroponic one, and it didn't really cost me a lot. The bowl itself was like $3 and the plant was on sale. So I am winning on so many levels with this plant, and I'm so glad I was able to find a hard to find Aglonema in Austin, Texas. So I will be doing a lot more plant tourism. I intend to go to Houston this week to also film some plants, but you can see this gorgeous atrium right here with a bunch of hanging baskets. And obviously this is a plant that you will see in Aglonema Silver Bay. Typical Aglonema you will see at a big box store, grocery store, convenience store, or any place that sells Aglonemas. Here we have an Aglonema stripes. This one is also one of my favorite type of Aglonemas. I love the stripes, but then they also have varieties where they have stripes plus like speckling. So it's interesting how Aglonema have been hybridized, crossing them with different other, different types of Aglonemas to get different either stem colors, variegation. It's really cool. I would say the best Aglonemas come from Indonesia. Indonesia really hybridizes this, and you can see right here they've got some characteristics about the Chinese evergreen or Aglonema. It says low to bright indirect light. I would say give them bright indirect light so they can actually grow and thrive. This one is an Aglonema tigris, so you can see that the variegation kind of looks like a tiger, and the leaves are a little bit more narrow as compared to maybe an Aglonema Maria. I definitely want to add some more green Aglonema to my collection. I do prefer the red ones and the pink ones. And here is an Aglonema Golden Fluorite for $42.99. I have been calling this Aglonema a golden papaya. Every time I see this at a big box store, because Costa Farms has released it as a trending tropical, I would call it a golden papaya, but it's actually not a golden papaya. So I apologize about that. You know, I make my mistakes, and that's the reason why I ask plant foldies, my viewers, to be sure to, let me know what the plant IDs are if I need to make corrections. But this is a gorgeous Aglonema Pearls. Haven't ever seen this. I love the white variegation on it. It reminds me of an Aglonema Etta Rose. The Aglonema Etta Rose has like very light pink pastel, but this one is really just white. And it looks different than the other Aglonema, like the Spring Snow. This one has rounder leaves as well. This one looks similar to the Aglonema Red Cyan, but this is actually Aglonema Sapphire Susan. Love the pink stems. I also love that it's got green foliage, and it just has pink outlining. So really nice looking Aglonema, simple looking Aglonema, but what makes it special is the pink stems. Absolutely stunning. Why would you not like Aglonema, right? And this is the reason why Aglonema, if you're asking me what my favorite plants are, it's Aglonema. And then right over here, we've got a Golden Madonna Aglonema for $19.99 in a 4-inch planter. This is one of my favorite Aglonemas, not for the foliage. The foliage is great, but look at how beautiful the white stems are. I think that that's what makes Aglonema special, is just the colors of the stems, especially the Golden Madonna. That white stem is just gorgeous. And then right over here, we've got an Aglonema very red for $24.99. It is very red. Now, if you're going to grow red Aglonema, pink Aglonema, or Aglonema that has a lot of coloration, you definitely have to give it not lower light, bright indirect light in order for it to retain its color. And you can see right here, for instance, we've got another beautiful Aglonema Golden Madonna. I can't get over the white stems. Let me know what you think in the comments. And right over here, we've got an Aglonema Sparkling Sarah. Love me some Aglonema Sparkling Sarah because there's a lot going on. So it's got pink stems, it's got different types of variegation, it's got pink veining. It's got a lot going on, and that one would definitely need a lot of bright indirect light to maintain its color. Like you can see, this one has gotten probably more light as compared to some of the other ones, because you can see that it's got more variegation. And this one looks like an Aglonema Silver Bay, but it's actually being called a Crystal Bay. So I'm not sure what makes it a Crystal Bay versus an Aglonema Silver Bay. They've even gotten an Aglonema Moonlight Bay. So there's a lot of bays going on. Just really interesting. If you are an Aglonema pro, I'm sure that there are very, slight nuances that separate the Aglonema. For me, the common denominator for Aglonema is, in order for you to grow them successfully, you definitely don't want to overwater them in the lighting conditions. Otherwise, they get leggy very quickly as well. Here we have an Aglonema Red King for $13.99. I actually have one growing in hydroponics as well. It's not doing as well in its conversion, so I'm not 100% sure if it's going to survive, but we shall see. And then right over here, we've got an Aglonema Leprechaun. I don't know what makes it a leprechaun because it looks like a Silver Bay Aglonema. Again, it might be the stem color, maybe the variegation or the edging on the leaves. Because look right here, we've got an Aglonema Spring Snow, right? It's a nice variegated white Aglonema, but you will see one that's very similar in just a second. And here we've got an Aglonema Silverado. One of my favorite Aglonemas because it's got large foliage. I ended up getting that at Callaway's Nursery out in North Dallas, but this is what I was talking about. So here is another Aglonema. This one is an Aglonema Wintry Wine. Wine house. So I'm not sure what the differences are between the Spring Snow. And here we have an Aglonema Red Siam. Gorgeous looking Aglonema, one that you will always see at a big box store. It's the most common Aglonema alongside with the Silver Bay. Not sure which one's more common, the Aglonema Silver Bay or the Red Siam. But again, I wanted to show you one of my favorite Aglonemas. Look at those white stems on the Aglonema Golden Madonna. Very precious, and this one's a nice looking Aglonema as well. But Aglonema galore. The great outdoors in Austin, Texas did me good by giving me lots of Aglonemas. I could buy all of them. I would love to buy all of them, but I should not buy all of them. I don't know if you ever faced that dilemma where you go to a plant nursery and you intend to not buy any plants, and then you pick up one plant and then all of a sudden you have a huge hefty bill and like a full cart of plants. Right over here, we've got some Alocasia. So this is an Alocasia Red Secret or Cupria. I've seen this at big box stores, but these ones don't look as dainty and delicate as the ones I've seen at a big box store. Look at how gorgeous the leaves are. That's another Alocasia I'd like to add to my collection. And check this out. A Dischidia White Diamond. Love the variegation on that hanging basket, and it's already trailing. And we've got a bunch of Alocasia Black Velvets here. Really like Alocasia Black Velvets. Stunning looking Alocasia. I have one in my collection and it's doing very well for me. And then we've got some more Alocasia Black Velvets right here. Now, if you want a tiny looking Alocasia Tiny Dancer is precious. $14.99 in a 4-inch starter planter. And you can see how tiny the leaves are. Really nice looking Alocasia. And then we've got another Alocasia Black Velvet there, and then another Alocasia Tiny Dancer. You can see that the leaves don't really get large. It just, the stems sort of, size up. This is the first time I've ever seen this Alocasia. This is an Alocasia Yucatan Princess for $18.99. This reminds me of like a regal shield. Look at how beautiful the stems are, but I love the metallic shine, this particular Aglonema. It's got like a gunmetal looking shine about it. Really nice looking Alocasia. And what else do we have here? We've got another Alocasia silver dragon. Look at that color on this silver dragon. This one's for $26.99. Not a bad price at all, and the leaves look pretty healthy. This one is now what I would consider a common Alocasia, just because Costa Farms Trending Tropicals has released this everywhere, and you can find that. And then right here is an Alocasia platinum. I would have thought this was an Alocasia nebula, but this one is a platinum. Look at that. And actually, I think the one that I bought at Green Acres, which is another local plant nursery in Irving, Texas, might be a platinum versus a nebula. Needless to say, beautiful looking Alocasia. I love the shape of the leaf. I also love the veining, the texture, and the color of the leaves and the stems. Lots going on with Alocasia. I found myself collecting a bunch of them. Then I had to slow down just because, you know, Alocasia aren't the easiest plants to take care of. They do require bright indirect light. They need higher humidity. And for them to not go dormant, you have to also have like warmer temperatures as well. You can see here we've got a bunch of Dracaenas available to purchase. And I'm really glad that I'm able to like pan out like this and not have a lot of people in the background. For a Saturday, I'm surprised that there's not nearly as many people like buying up these plants, but that makes it easier for me to go plant shopping with you guys. Here we are going to be looking at a bunch of like Philodendron heteroraceum and Epipremnum aureums. This one is a lemon lime. Gorgeous, gorgeous looking plant. I love yellow neon looking plants. This one will retain its yellow color if you give it a lot of bright indirect light. If you don't, it will just be more green. Here is an Epipremnum aureum golden global green Pothos for $28.99. Love this as well. This used to be a rare plant. 3 to 4 years ago, a one leaf, one node cutting cost about $50. And yes, I was one of the ones that bought that just because I love the green on green variegation. The mutation was actually found in Japan, so I thought that was really interesting. Japan actually has a bunch of rare pothos in process. That's called the Toruno World Series. Check them out. If you find one on Etsy, they usually retail for like $100 for a one leaf cutting. I'm not going to do that again. I'm just going to go ahead and wait till the plant prices go down. But you can see there was a golden pothos, and then we have a jade pothos. If you are new to houseplants, these two plants that I just picked up are plants I would suggest growing first. Very easy to care for plants, very forgiving. And then right over here, we've got another Epipremnum aureum lemon meringue. Now this is a Costa Farms introduction. So it's basically a sport variegation of the global green pothos. You can tell that this one actually has smaller leaves as compared to the global green, and it has yellow variegation. You have to give that a lot of bright indirect light. Otherwise you will not get that yellow to come out. And here's some pothos ivy care tips and characteristics. Here are some neon pothos in hanging baskets. Love the neon pothos. And also we've got a marble queen pothos right over here. Marble queen is another beautiful pothos, but this one can actually revert if you don't give it enough bright indirect light. So just make sure to pay attention to that and look at that variegation. This is a marble queen pothos growing on a totem. I've stated this before. If you let Epipremnum aureum or heteroraceum grow, or just any type of philodendron, the leaves will size up in size. Here is an Epipremnum pinnatum Cebu blue pothos. This is endemic to the Philippines, specifically in the Cebu Islands. And you can see here is a beautiful Epipremnum pinnatum variegated neon. This one's for $31.99. So this is similar looking to like a golden pothos, but the leaves are more narrow. And when it grows up a totem, it really fenestrates. So I think that that's super cool. That's really what it looks like in the jungles of, its native habitat is they like to grow up trees and they fenestrate. Fenestrate means how the leaves start to split And you can see this one right here is an Epipremnum pinnatum Baltic blue. This one actually is interesting because it doesn't necessarily need to grow up a totem or a moss pole or a plank or a tree for it to fenestrate. It starts to split its leaves and mature either way. And we've got some Epipremnum pinnatums albos. This one is for $29.99. That is not a bad price at all. And these are actually starting to fenestrate and mature. And we've got some Scindapsus silver splash right over here. Really like that a lot. Scindapsus are gorgeous because they've got velvety satin textures on the leaves, and the silver is just really nice as well. The only drawback about Scindapsus is that they are slower growing. So if you want a fast growing trailing plant, you might want to go with more of a Pothos. Here is a Scindapsus jade satin. So this is a green version of just the Scindapsus, and it's interesting that that is more of an uncommon plant, just because you would think any plant that has more variegation would be more uncommon, but the jade satin one, just the green form, is a little bit more uncommon to find. And you can see this Marble Queen Pothos has really sized up its leaves since it's growing on a totem. I definitely want to get ones that are on totems, but oh my gosh, check this out. I haven't seen this in person for quite some time. $43.99, you can get a whole hanging basket of Epipremnum aureum Snow Queen. So Snow Queen literally has variegation that is white as compared to the Marble Queen. I wanted to show you that right there. You can see the Marble Queen has more cream variegation and more green. The thing about Snow Queen Pothos is it's definitely a slower growing Pothos because it's highly variegated, and you definitely have to give it bright indirect light for it to maintain its white variegation. Otherwise, it starts to look more like a Marble Queen Pothos. So it's basically a Marble Queen Pothos, but even more variegation. Right here, we've got some Epipremnum pinnatum totems. This one is the Albo. Nice looking ones. You can see that the leaves are starting to fenestrate and mature. And we've got an Epipremnum pinnatum variegated neon right over here. Look at that. That's really nice. And these plants are priced fairly well. These plants are what they look like in the wild. And then right here, we've got a Hoyas Emerald Gem for $24.99. That is not a bad price at all. Now with this Hoyas, this one definitely needs to stay moist. It doesn't like to dry out completely. Otherwise, it will just become unhappy. And right here, we've got a Philodendron Hederaceum Brazil on totems. Really nice looking Philodendron Hederaceums. And we got a Spathiphyllum Peace Lily right here. Massive looking leaves, actually. Nice looking ones as well. And you can see right here, we've got some more Hoyas Emerald Gems. And we've got some ZZ plants. Large looking Raven ZZ plant. This one's over $100. But that's not a bad price for such a large ZZ plant, especially the Raven, because ZZ plants are a little bit slower growing. What's great about these ZZ plants is you can literally put it at any part of your home. The darkest corner, it will still grow. It can really tolerate lower light conditions. And the care tips, you don't really have to water it as much. Actually, overwatering is one of the number 1 reasons why ZZ plants die. You can kill it by overwatering. They prefer to be more underwatered, meaning like you don't have to water as often. And this is really cool. So these are Sansevieria. This is a Sansevieria Black Star. And what I like about Great Outdoors is I'm learning so much about plant IDs. I often see snake plants or Sansevierias at big box stores, but I can't differentiate them. So this is really cool that I'm getting the plant IDs. This one is a Sansevieria Favorite Gold. Nice looking variegation. It's got more of a bird's nest feel. Same thing with this one. This is a Sansevieria Blue Star Honey. That one's a really nice looking one. I've seen this at Home Depot, actually. It's by Nature's Way in a ceramic planter for $8.98. And you can see Sansevieria Lauren, nice looking one. Very nice, bright pastel yellow variegation. And we've got some more plants here, some more Sansevierias. This one is a Sansevieria Coral, another common snake plant that you will see at like Home Depot or at a big box store. And then we've got another snake plant here. Look at that beautiful variegation. The outlining of that yellow is really nice. We've got a Sansevieria Moonshine, one of my favorite snake plants. You have to give it bright indirect light for it to maintain that like mint green, light green tone though. And you can see right over here, we've got a Sansevieria whalefin. So these used to be uncommon. You can find them now at big box stores as well. Really nice looking Sansevieria. I'm looking for a variegated form. And we've got some more snake plants, coral ones. We've got some more Sansevieria black stars right over here. Nice looking one as well. But you will see this is my favorite snake plant, and that is the Sansevieria starfish. This one's for $9.99. I bought one in this size like 2 to 3 years ago, and it is super full and bursting out of its like 6-inch planter. I actually had to repot it, and it just keeps multiplying, sending out more pups. These actually, like the Sansevieria Tom grassalis, $16.99. You can grow these Sansevieria in full sun. They actually would love full sun. You can grow them and they will actually thrive and actually push out more pups. You wouldn't be able to do that with this snake plant. Actually, you could. The Sansevieria Golden Flame, that's another beautiful snake plant. I like that. But what my favorite Sansevieria is, aside from this starfish, would be the Sansevieria larubia. Here is a Sansevieria bacularis right over here. The plant pricing is not bad at all at the Great Outdoors. And you can see here is another Sansevieria. This one is an elephant tusk for $9.99. You can see that the root is bursting out. That's when you know it's a healthy plant. And here is a Sansevieria cylinder spear. That's not a bad looking one as well. And then we've got some Sansevieria Cleopatras right over here. And here we have another Sansevieria francisii. Yep, this is a Sansevieria Cleopatra right over here. And we've got some more Sansevieria francisii. Nice looking one. But I had a plant foldy, a viewer that asked me to go find a Sansevieria samurai. This one's for $12.99. Here you go. And they wanted me to film it. So I love this Sansevieria. You have to be careful, though, on the tips because they actually have pointy, spikes on it. I used to have one of those. Super cute. And then we've got some larger Sansevierias right over here. We've got a Raven ZZ right over here. More ZZ plants. Really love the new growth of it. It has that neon green growth and it turns black. And I'm going to pan over here and show you some other plants. We've got some assorted palms right over here. We've got some more peperomia ginnies right over here. I actually added one to my collection. And then this is amazing. Pilea Silver Cloud. I don't really see this often. I wish that they would even sell that at big box stores. I'm all about the Pilea plants. They're doing very well for me. That is one that I would actually buy today if I wasn't on a no plant buy or a plant limitation buy. This one is a Peperomia Pixie Lima for $9.99. This is another Peperomia I would love to add to my collection. Look at that. Just that subtle variegation on the leaves. It's super cute. And I do like that yellow green color as well. That bright yellow green color. Beautiful Peperomia Ecuador. It looks like a large Peperomia watermelon. And here we've got some lipstick plants here. They almost look like Hoya plants, that waxy texture. And we're going to walk over here and you can just see there's so many plants. This is the reason why I had to do a part 2 because I didn't want to make a super long video. Just to give you guys insight, I've had to edit this video 3 times. The first time I accidentally deleted the edit, that took 4 hours. Then I didn't have enough space and accidentally deleted it again. And then when I tried to edit this video one last time after I freed up the space, my voiceover didn't do it. So this is my 4th attempt. Hopefully this will actually work out for me. Otherwise I'm gonna be super frustrated, but hey, I do it for the love of plant shopping and showing you guys beautiful plants. So if you have made it this far, all I ask is for my efforts. If you guys can, please don't forget to hit the like button on this channel. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. I will be ending this video. My name is Richie, and I hope you enjoyed part 1 of my series. Bye.